Hi everybody, it's Cindy from Upcycled Design Lab. Today I'm going to be making a couple of different patterns of Christmas wrapping from some old grocery flyers. The other supplies you need are a glue stick, a couple of paintbrushes, some water, and some paint. I'm starting with some old white house paint that I have left over from some house projects. The first step is just to make the paper bigger, so I'm gluing the two pieces together with the glue stick with about a 1.5 inch overlap. And then I'm taking my brush and dipping it into the paint and also dipping it into the water and just brushing sort of a whitewash finish onto the paper. Once that's complete, I'm going back with a dry brush and just dabbing some paint onto the darker spots that I want a little more coverage on. This is the first design we'll be doing. It's the holly and berries. I'm starting with some red paint. I just put it in a bottle cap and I'm using a wine cork to make the berries. I'm working in a diagonal pattern across the page, and then once I'm done with that, I'm going back and placing the berries in an alternating pattern following that same diagonal line. To make the holly leaves, I'm using this green paint in a paint tube that has a really pointed tip, so I can just draw right on the paper with the paint. I'm also working on wet paint. I didn't wait for it to dry, and so you have to be a little careful not to touch the paper, but you can do this whole design and just have it dry only one time. For the second design, I made this little snowman print. I started with the same paper preparation, the whitewash and dabbing some white paint on. And then I used a milk bottle cap, a plastic bottle cap. It was a little hard to hold on to, so I glued a wine cork to it. And then I'm just working in a diagonal pattern again, dabbing the white circles. It's a little hard to see, but I'm using the milk bottle cap for the body, and then I have a smaller plastic cap that I'm using for the head of the snowman. To make the snowman's buttons, I'm using a Q-tip and dabbing it in a little black paint. Then I'm using some red paint and the same technique to make the snowman's nose. To make the eyes and the mouth, I used this pointed skewer. It's nice and long, so it reaches in there and it makes very small, delicate marks. Here I'm using the red squeeze bottle to draw on a little scarf for the snowman. And now I'm adding a little bit of silver to the bottom of the snowman just to give him a little bit of a base and ground him a little bit. Next I'm drawing on a little winter cap with some green paint. After the paint was all dry, the last step was to go back in and just draw on some little stick arms. And that's it for the Christmas wrapping paper.